Awesome. So before, I lived about 20 years in New York, and I moved about 4 years ago to San Francisco, and I literally live like half a block from here. Awesome views of the bridge, so I love the marina. Cool. So first, I want to get started by asking if anybody knows what the following image is. Anybody want to give it a shot? Okay. This is the cover of a 1960s report on speech recognition by the IBM T.J. Watson Center. The reason why I bring this up, just to give you a little perspective, it's been 60 years since engineers, scientists have been working on getting to that point where a bot can have a natural conversation with a human. Now, in the 60s, they made some strides, but they didn't really get far enough. Cool. So I'm going to take you now to 1999. I'm doing my summer internship. I think I'm a freshman in college. And I did it at the IBM T.J. Watson Center in Yorktown Heights. I remember two things out of that experience. One, extremely memorable. I remember my first day at this internship. I walked into the cafeteria, and I just see a sea of just white hair as far as you can see. It looked to me like I was probably the only person under the age of like 80. I'm sure that's not true. That's what you see when you're 19. The second piece, which is really exciting, let me go to the next one. Here we go. I got to work on the text-to-speech team of Dr. Nahamu. He's considered the father of speech recognition globally. Until recently, he was the global CTO for IBM on speech recognition. Now, that was 1999. I learned that about 2006, the technology wasn't quite there to get to the moment where a bot can have a natural conversation with a human, and some of these teams were paused. So I'm going to take you now to here. Anyone wants to take a guess who these guys are? Adam, Dag, and I think Gruber? I don't know how do you pronounce it. Anyone wants to give it a shot? All right, half of the audience probably here or more have an iPhone. These guys are the inventors of Siri. 2008, they started Siri. 2010, they get acquired by Apple. I'm not gonna, I can tell a little bit of a story because I love it. Initially, this is revolutionary, it's a magic moment. It's the first consumer hit application, end-to-end voice. So you speak to Siri and it gives you the answer by speaking to you. The coolest part, one of the coolest part of the story is that actually Siri initially was meant to be, you speak to Siri and it will give you the information on your screen. And they decided to delay the launch just to make it magical, and eventually they made it voice-to-voice. So that part I really love. They plugged into like Nuance, which is like a 20-year-old company in text-to-speech or more. So that's a little nerdy fact that I love about that story. So huge magic. First time you see an end-to-end voice magical application on everyone's phone. Let's go to the next one. But of course, there is some limitations. You have to know how do you ask Siri certain things. And the bot still doesn't really quite sound perfectly human. So anyone that's in voice or anyone that's in chatbots or anyone that's in Silicon Valley pretty much, remember this moment, 2018, Google announces Duplex. They do a demo where a voice bot has a perfect conversation with a human setting up a hair appointment. It's really the first moment where you see a natural conversation. The person on the other line does not really believe that they're speaking to a bot. They think they're speaking to a human. This is the first moment where this is what I guess you can call it the Sputnik moment. This is where, for the first time, the level of technology in LNU with speech-to-text, text-to-speech, gets to the point where sophisticated enough that you can actually start building serious business applications with AI voice. And that's actually why I'm here. I'm going to share with you how AI voice will dramatically change the way business leaders work. My name is Ricardo Garcia-Amaya. I am the founder of VOIQ. We help sales and marketing teams leverage voice bots to create warm and relevant conversations over the phone channel with their customers and prospects. And I'm going to start sharing my favorite top 5 AI voice innovations for business. The first one is the voice dashboard. So right now, if you're a CEO, if you're a sales leader, if you're a leader in an organization, We have the visual dashboard, which is incredible, puts the information at our fingertips. Now, even better than a visual dashboard is a voice dashboard. So I'll tell you a little bit about what you can do. So you will soon enough be able to get information about your business, whether you're jogging, whether you're driving, whether you're taking a shower. And currently, let's say that you are driving, commuting early in the morning to work, and you are just thinking about, you know what, I would like Diane's numbers and sales from yesterday, right? Currently, it involved pulling over, pulling up your phone, pulling up your laptop, going into a website, going to the dashboard, entering a query, pulling that information, right? Now, with a voice dashboard, here we go. You should be able to just speak to the voice interface. In this case, in your car, it could be your watch, it could be your shower. And you can just ask how were Nancy's numbers and sales yesterday, right? And the information will be provided to you. So in terms of efficiency, it's going to be a game-changing. The reason why I bring this up, I mentioned Dr. Nahamo earlier. He now is working in a company called Prion, and they call it augmented intelligence, but this is what it is. You'll be able to ask a voice assistant for any type of information and pull it up regarding your company. Second is the voice meeting assistant. This is huge specifically for me. I suck at taking notes in a meeting. I find it extremely hard to be present in a meeting and at the same time capture who are the stakeholders, what are the tasks, who's going to take on those tasks, did we measure success in this meeting, was this successful? So these are the typical kind of scribbles that I do, and after the meeting, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I don't even know what I write. So for me, and for about millions of Americans, there are about 55 million of meetings every day in the United States. So this is going to be game-changing. There are several technologies that listen to your meeting, transcribe it, tag it, give you a report after the meeting in multiple channels. So on the first one, there are several companies that are listening to your call conversations, call meetings. So many of you are familiar with the company Chorus. Then you also have the same on video meetings. You have Gong, and now you have face-to-face meetings, and you have applications that listen to those conversations and give you the results after the fact. So that's one of my favorite ones. Third is search navigation. You probably heard or been exposed to this one by maybe Adobe. The example that I like here, in terms of collaboration, if you are, let's say, a designer and you're working with a couple of other designers and brainstorming some creative idea, and you're browsing through a catalog of stock photography, right now it involves one designer tied to a keyboard and a mouse, and everybody else kind of yelling at them with ideas, right? And every search query, you have to start pretty much from scratch, right? Text, and you get these results one by one. Now, with voice search and navigation, you'll be able to bring more collaboration to this process. So you'll have several designers in a room, and you won't have to have one single one tied to it. Each one of them can collaborate and share ideas directly to your interface. This is already in place. You probably have seen Adobe has this feature. So that's one example of how AI voice will dramatically change that. Voice authentication is using your voice as your password. This is great. I mean, the average professional has about 200 passwords to deal with. Of course, we have plenty of password managers that try to help make our life easier. I just hate when I actually forget the password to my password manager. It's happened a couple of times, and you kind of have like a mini heart attack. When you're able to leverage your voice as a password, I mean, the easy example is to think like, oh, I no longer need to enter a password into a website, but it goes beyond that. I mean, I'm seeing it from a workflow perspective. I don't know how many of you participate in, if you're a mid-sized company or enterprise company and you want to jump into a video call, you have to find a conference room, you have to log in your credentials, you have to go into a calendar, find the video application, find the conference number, and that's why so many people are usually late to these meetings. With voice authentication, it allows you to just walk into a room and just say, patch me into my 10 a.m. meeting, right? And it logs you in multiple platforms and gets you there. So, huge game changer. Now I'm going to get to my favorite. Obviously, this is what we do. We're experts in this area. Voice bots for business calls. So the easiest one, someone mentioned it here earlier, the one that comes to mind is IVRs, right? So if you call a vendor, you call your bank, you're stuck in these IVRs that don't quite understand what you're saying, that hang up on you, that throw you in loops, it's usually a nightmare. Now, soon enough, you'll be able to have a AI voice bot that listens to, basically on the first ring, whenever you call a vendor, on the first ring, it will answer and say, hi, how can I help you? And they actually will, that thing will actually be able to help you and answer all your questions. Now, this technology is not here yet. However, you are able to use the same voice bot to do something with a little bit more of a narrow focus, such like marketing experts, sales managers, sales automation can use voice bots to make sales and marketing calls. And that's currently the use case for voice bots right now, and that's what we do. So the reason why the technology for IVRs is not here is because the scope is so wide when you are just asking somebody, how can I help you, right? However, I mean, you can have somebody calling, an IVR says, well, my grandma was here, she brought the cat spilled the water in my modem, and now it doesn't work. Done, right? The NLU is not going to understand that. It will maybe in 10, 15 years, right? So for now, though, if you narrow the focus of this conversation, then you can actually use this voice bot, and that's the way that we use it. When you use it for marketing and sales calls, the voice bot is directing the conversation, right? So it's asking you, hi, John, thank you for attending Ricardo's talk. I noticed that you registered for tomorrow's workshop. Will you be attending, right? That's a very narrow focus, and the NLU will be able to really understand and be prepared to get what you're saying. So that's the big difference between those two. I'm going to take you in a little deep dive in this one because this is our expertise, and I'm going to share with you what to expect from a platform that allows you to launch voice bots for sales and marketing calls. So the first thing, it's that it's a SaaS platform. It's online. You go to like you would to go to any other sort of sales or marketing automation platform to create your campaigns. Very similar to if you're looking for a chatbot automation platform, you have Drift. If you're looking for an email automation, you have Outreach, you have MailChimp, you have ActiveCampaign, right? And if you're looking for a call voice bot automation platform, well, that's us. We're the first SaaS platform that allows you to do that. What to expect from this platform? First, that it's human sounding. So out of the box, there are tens of providers of synthetic voices. Out of the box, it's not going to sound perfectly human, but it's going to sound human-like. You can make it sound perfectly human with a little bit of time. It used to take, for that demo, where Google, it took them about 4 months and several engineers just to make it sound perfectly human, to just set up a hair appointment, right? If you're having a 1 or 2 minute conversation, you can make it definitely sound perfectly human, but it's going to take some time. Not months, hours. It's going to be conversational, so again, the narrow scope allows you to be extremely relevant. Hi, this is Linda. Great. Hi, this is Robert. Blah 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 blah. Right? And are we still on for the meeting at 3 p.m.? Then it's integrated into CRM, which makes it even more relevant. So it's pulling information from your CRM, which in this case is more like a real estate type of use case. Hi, Josh. I just want to make sure that you're still coming to the open houses 4, so it's confirming stuff for a real estate agent. Hot transfer, you can actually transfer this call to a human. So if you are, in this case, it's somebody that joined a group on Facebook on how to prospectively become a franchisee of a gym. So the bot automatically is calling somebody who joined that group, and it's saying, hey, thank you. Would you like to learn more about, do you have time right now? I can introduce you to an expert that can tell you more, right? So it's more lead generation, prospecting. The next one, voice cloning. This is pretty cool. Soon enough, you'll see brands that have a strong voice, kind of like the Gecko and the Geico commercial, will be able to call you after you fill out a call to action on your site, or when you are approved, and it'll say, hi Josh, congratulations, mate, you're approved, right? So that's what's coming down the pipeline in terms of voice cloning. Workflows, triggers. This is one of the coolest things for me, and that is that voice bots for calling are not needed to be triggered one by one or in groups by a human, but they are triggered based on actions, and based on what you say in that call, it triggers other actions as well. So in this case, this was triggered by Karen downloading an ebook, right? So a voice bot automatically goes and calls her and asks her, thanks her for downloading an ebook, and ask her if she's interested in learning more. Simple objection handling, right? Oh, I don't know, I learned about your product, but it's a little bit too expensive. Well, we have installment plans, so if you want, again, they're not going to close the sale. A voice bot will not close the sale. A voice bot will not take the credit card, but they will patch you. They will transfer to somebody to be able to close the deal. So you can definitely train your voice bot to handle objections, and of course, like any other SaaS platform, you have your dashboard that tells you what works, what doesn't, and you continue to improve the learning of that campaign that you're launching. And way more things that you can do. One of my favorite ones here is A/B testing. So before, if you wanted to know what's the best type of profile of a call agent calling a prospect or a customer, would it be a woman between the ages of 35 to 45 with a Texan accent, or a man between the ages of 21 to 25 with a neutral accent? It used to take you about a month testing multiple sort of personality and profiles. Now, within hours, you can test the perfect psychographic and the perfect profile for the type of person that you want to be contacting, a prospect or a customer, selling or prospecting for a specific product. Okay, and the use cases, I mentioned them: sales and marketing, customer success. Pretty much this is, it's a brand new channel. This is the first time in the history of marketing that, for the first time in the history of marketing, they have access and control to manipulate the call channel, right? So marketing automation experts have awesome workflows of emails, text, chatbots, and now they have a whole new channel. So they're having a lot of fun leveraging the call channel for voice bots. I'm just going to give you one use case. This is new to everyone, including marketing automation, sales automation. As of a year ago, you couldn't do this, right? Technology wasn't there for you to do this. This is a typical example from a marketing type of customer. Pretty much any business in the world that has a call to action online. In this specific scenario, it's car insurance, and they get about 500,000 to 1 million visitors entering the call to action. And they're not going to have humans necessarily calling, if it's 1 million people filling out your forms, you're probably making 4 million calls, and it's extremely expensive if you have humans. But you can use voice bots, and the voice bots will call at the right time 100% of everyone that needs to be called and needs to be prospected. So in this case, it says, hello, hi, is this Karen? Yep. Hi, Karen, thank you for requesting to learn about your car insurance for your Toyota Corolla, right? We know that because they filled the form. They just did, and they have one additional qualification question. Does your car have more than 150,000 miles? In this case, she said yes or no or whatever it is, and depending on the question, they say, great, you qualify. I would love to. Do you have time right now? I can introduce you to an expert who can get you set up with your car insurance, right? I'm going to share you like a typical use case from a marketing perspective. Now, in just 2 years, 30% of enterprises will be leveraging voice bots for sales, marketing, customer success, customer service. So I hope this inspires you and start being an early adopter of voice bots for sales, marketing, customer service, any type of stuff. Happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. 3 questions.
Thanks, Ricardo. I'm really looking forward to a future where this is the thing you call into a big company and you get artificial intelligence helping you through. My question, and it might be a question for a lot of people in this room, is with regulation and possible disclosures down the road, what have you seen so far, and where do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, so actually, the regulation that's coming into place, we love it, which is the need for businesses to disclose or register or certify their name. So instead of you getting a 1-800 number, it's going to say the name of your company and the reason why you're calling. That's extremely useful to us because our customers, 99.9% of the campaigns that are run on our platform, are triggered by somebody already interacting with your product, right? And they want to talk to you as a prospect or as a customer at that time, and they're competing with unsolicited calls with 800 numbers, right? So you just filled out a form online. You're in that moment. You actually would welcome to learn more, right? But if it doesn't say who is calling you, then you could think that it's not relevant to what you just did, right? So in terms of regulation, we can't wait to be able to have, the next time when you have a caller ID, it should say the name of the company and the reason for it. Twilio already, it's releasing in beta. The original kind of technology also comes out of Google. I don't know if they mentioned it earlier, but they mentioned it in the Chatbot conference in New York. But yeah, does that answer your question? Or?
Yeah, and so is everything you guys do just opt in, and will it have to disclose that it's not a user?
So the question is, do everything that we do is opt in or? And?
Yeah. Is everything you do opt in to this, and will it have to disclose that it's not a user?
Okay, that's a good question. Those are two, important questions. Do you need to disclose you're not a human? So when you're calling somebody and there's a reason as to why, if there's opt-in, you can call them whenever you want, right? What you need to disclose is whether the call is recorded. You don't have to disclose whether the call it's a voice bot or a human. Today, that's correct. And I can get into a longer story about like robocalls and the difference between like just to put it out there, a robocall is a pre-recorded call. It's universal and it's sent to all of you. So it's just going to say, hi, you need car insurance or whatever. No, it's life insurance, right? So it's not customized to you. It's a whole different thing. So the regulation that you've seen over the past like 40 years is based on those type of recordings that are completely unsolicited. I compare it to email and spam. Any respectable company in the world knows that it's not a good idea, if you ask a sales or marketing manager, to just send 2 million emails to people that are not in your ICP, your ideal customer profile, because your brand hurts. So the same thing applies to phones, right? If you're a savvy marketing sales expert, you will not call people that you should not be calling, that are not an ICP, that they're not warm, that they're not expecting that call, and that it doesn't provide added value. So same rules, it's just that most people are familiar with kind of unsolicited calls. The way that people were very familiar with spam like 25 years ago, before it kind of got under control and everybody had like a Viagra, 10 emails about Viagra in your AOL account 25 years ago, right? And now doesn't seem to be a thing. Filters, technology kind of solved that. So yeah, I don't know if that answered the question. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Who has the mic?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
So your solution, how the end user would be able to access your voice bot? Do they need to have any kind of 1-800 number or download any app?
Can you repeat the question and can you hold the mic closer?
Or actually, I would like to ask, like, your solution can be integrated with the existing IVR infrastructure?
How can businesses leverage this?
Yeah, how end user can access your voice AI assistant?
Okay, so
Do they need to have any specific dial-in number, or they need to download a mobile app?
so businesses.
What are the possible ways? That's
Businesses use our platform in the same way that you would use a SaaS email automation platform. They log in, they create campaigns, and it's mostly, all of it is outbound. So this is very different from IVRs that
more
you're
like
calling
a
in.
callback. More like a callback?
Sorry?
Is it more like a callback during that time we are making the conversation fluid?
Sorry, I didn't get that. Can you ask it in a different way?
So if it is outbound means actually your intelligent system is making a call to customer and provide a fluid assistance. Is that the case? Or?
Yes, so it's tied to CRMs, tied to Salesforce, it's tied to Close.io, it's tied to any of those sales and marketing automation platforms, it's tied to. We're natively integrated to HubSpot, that's a great point. So yes, you can drive the workflow inside the software that you already work with. If you want a sophisticated campaign, then you have to log into our platform and really hone in and train it. But you can deploy it and create a workflow from wherever of those platforms that you already use for sales and marketing automation. And I'll give you an example. We are right now onboarding I guess, the biggest marketplace in the world. And initially, the use case was for marketing and sales. But as they learn the capability of leveraging voice bots, they are now looking to insert it first in vendor management. So if you have a team of thousands of home services plumbers around the United States, and you want to keep them updated and keep it in schedule, it's an additional channel and more effective channel than text and email. So none of this is just an additional channel to email, text, and you need to understand from a sales and marketing, if you're a sales and marketing expert, every channel, there's a specific way or use case in your company for it, right? Not every company could benefit from text, not every company benefits from calling. It works for many companies who work for different, thousands of different use cases. We're just learning of all the thousands of use cases, and we're learning from our own customers, right? We say, this is great for sales and marketing. They said, yeah, no, for sure, let's do that. But can we also do X and Y, right? So we're learning a lot from them, and it's kind of like, I would imagine people asking about email like 20, 30 years ago, right? Like, oh, I know that I can use my email to like talk to my grandma, and and we said, this is email for like sales and marketing. They're like, can we use email for customer success? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, can you give me an example, right? So it's a channel. We started with sales and marketing, but it's a channel that you can use this for any department.
Thank you.
So you spoke about the voice being straight out of the box. This is on the far end. But what about on the front end, which is the speech to text itself, like in noisy environments, and even if it's just one other person talking, can you speak a little bit more about your platform, and are you addressing that problem? Because it's a significant user experience problem.
Yeah, so right now is super early the reason why Google was able to do that duplex demo is not because, they're amazing, but they didn't do the legwork. The technology and AI have helped every single one of those areas, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, NLU, right? And they're all coming together. You couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for the advancement of AI applying to those three different areas, text-to-speech, speech-to-text, NLU. And in addition to that, the telecommunications, having a company like Twilio, right? That before you have to go through huge telcos to build an enterprise solution. Now, if you're an engineer, you can use Twilio, you can use any number of other signal wire to build a telephony application for the enterprise. So all of these technologies came together, and right now it's super early. One of the coolest things about why I like Siri is because they were tying in. Initially, they were focused a lot on the NLU, but they were leveraging third party for any number of things, right? And that's what's happening. It's super early right now. It's super fragmented. You're starting to see silos of companies that only focus on cloning voices. Then you're focusing, there's a whole silo of companies they're planning to be billion-dollar companies, and the only thing they want to do is build synthetic voices. There's one that only do text-to-speech, the other one does speech-to-text, and every single one of these silos already becomes potential billion-dollar companies just doing one thing, right? So there's many players, and we're leveraging a ton of these, in addition, obviously, the SaaS platform, we have about 3 million calls from professional sales agents to train our voice bots. So we have some experience in that space, and the SaaS tells you how to improve the voice bots, et cetera. But we're definitely leveraging a ton of technologies from the top leading providers, of the world in each of those areas, and we pick the best, and we're able to switch. When somebody does outdo the other one, we switch immediately. So that's a good question.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for Ricardo.
Thank you.